Well, the New York Mets came to JetBlue Park today and quickly announced that one of their starting pitchers, Zach Wheeler, would probably be out for the season. And shortly thereafter, the Red Sox saw one of their starting pitchers, Joe Kelly, go off the mound with a biceps injury. A pretty scary sight for a Red Sox team that hasn't really had too many injuries yet this spring. And it seems like Kelly's going to be okay from what we're told, but probably too soon to tell, Scott.
Yeah, look, it's never good when one of your pitchers walks off the mound in the middle of an inning with something that doesn't feel so great. And Joe Kelly said he felt some tightness in his biceps when he was warming up today. Didn't think it was that big a deal, felt like he could get through it. And then ultimately, in his 2+ innings of work, found himself able to really only throw his fastball, which you can't really get by with just the one pitch. So it was best that he came out of the game when he did. And the Red Sox will take a closer look at him tomorrow, have a better idea. But right now, their feeling is that Joe Kelly is not going to miss a significant amount of time. If anything, maybe it gets pushed back here a few days, and you can afford to do that in spring training. But certainly you want to get out of spring training healthy, and they want to make sure that whatever's going on in Joe Kelly's arm right now settles itself down before it becomes something more serious.
Right, and the Red Sox with this lineup, we've seen for the most part, probably don't need a starting pitcher who's going to go up and throw a bunch of zeros. But to lose Kelly, if they were to lose Kelly, then they're down to what else? I mean, could Stephen Wright, knuckleballer, who had a pretty good season last year, could he be the sixth guy?
Right now he is, from everything John Farrell's telling us. Right now, Stephen Wright is number 6. You know, it's interesting. They traded Ruby De La Rosa and Alan Webster for Wade Miley, who's obviously in their rotation. So kind of a 2-for-1 in the pitching market there, in the pitching maneuvering there. They traded Anthony Renato for Robbie Ross. Now all of a sudden, 3 of those guys who were up the end of last year are out of the organization now, and it feels like, at least to me, their depth, their starting rotation depth is a little less than what it was. They like Henry Owens, they like Brian Johnson, and they love Eduardo Rodriguez. But those guys are not really ready yet to step in and be full-time members of the rotation. So Stephen Wright it is, if Joe Kelly or anyone else can't make a start here, and he's, you know, obviously a knuckleballer, got big league experience, and a guy they're hoping could be able to step in here and keep them in games if need be.
Well, he's been working with R.A. Dickey, Tim Wakefield, Charlie Hough, a lot of knuckleballers. It seems like he's really made a lot of progress. The Red Sox think Stephen Wright could be a legitimate starting pitcher. He had a pretty good ERA last year. I think it was 20-something innings, but mostly out of the bullpen. So to see him in a starting role would be a little bit different. You make a good point about the young starters now. They had to rush the other guys, Renato, Webster. Some of those guys maybe came up a little too early. Do you think that the Red Sox would want to maybe take their time now with some of the new guys?
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's their hope, you know, is to not have to move those guys up because of injuries. I mean, if push comes to shove, that's what you do. But, you know, that's another reason why Matt Barnes, who, you know, John Farrell loves Matt Barnes' arm as a bullpen guy, as a guy who can pitch in the late innings, because he throws a mid-90s fastball and has some power that a lot of their other relievers don't have. But right now he factors into that starting depth too. And I think if you were to list them out, if Stephen Wright is 6, Matt Barnes is probably 7. For no other reason than he's a little older than the other 3 I mentioned and has some big league experience himself. So, you know, that's kind of what you're looking at. And this is where, you know, maybe a guy like Anthony Renato, I know they traded him for what they felt was a need in Robbie Ross, but could have been a guy who was valuable here as depth in camp. Yeah,
and I mean, the Mets are just, on the other hand, are loaded with starting pitching. And the guy that they had pitching behind Matt Harvey today, Noah Syndergaard, came out and was throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. So it was a good contrast to see where each team is. The Red Sox are going to rely on offense this year. We know that. But hopefully they get Joe Kelly back as well. Well, that's it today for videographer Chris Evans. Scott Lauber, I'm Jason Mastronato. Thanks for watching.